We are live. Welcome to the Lynn and Sheryl show. I'm Lynn Serrano.
You're kind of tongue tied there, Chicklet. I'm Sheryl Isenhour.
Me, me and this chicklet will be right back. Welcome back, Sheryl. Welcome, Sheryl. Here we are, another Wednesday and Wisdom Wednesday. I'm glad we're here. And there's Bob. Hi, Bob. Bob, I'm kind of glad you're here for this one. I can't believe it. Uh, we right before we start the show, I'm like, I was pretty proud of myself about this, and I'm glad I did, or maybe I'm glad I didn't. I don't know, but I was like showing Sheryl. I said, Sheryl, you want to see my new background I used the other day? So I showed her my background. I was like, isn't that cool? And what'd you say, Sheryl?
I said it looked like marijuana leaves.
I'm like, what? So what Sheryl go do? Sheryl goes on the internet and sends me back this picture. I'm like, what? So then I went ahead and did this. So now I have to say thanks, Sheryl. I guess I'm glad I shared it because I don't know. Now she's calling
Hey,
my little palm trees freaking
it's
marijuana weed.
supposed to be palm trees, but hey, it still looks like marijuana leaves from this side. So, whatever. You do whatever makes you froggy.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm glad I did because I mean, like, I'm glad I shared this and got her 2 cents opinion. I
You
think
got
I
a
don't
whole
know.
quarter, sweetie. I didn't give you just the 2 cent version.
Yeah, well, the thing is I kind of like it, but now I'm thinking marijuana. I think I have to ask my kids what they think about it. They might like it because anyway, they're of that generation. What can I tell you?
It is.
Anywho, so I'm glad I did. I'm glad I showed up here. So what brings this topic along, Sheryl? You picked the topic, or you picked the headliner.
Actually, I did it from a few things that happened this week. I titled it "I'm Glad I Did." The part of it is my little business card book is called "I'm Glad I Did." Do what it takes not to say I wish I had,
Mm,
and it came up from, and I think everybody this may resonate with some of the people that are as old as that are in the older group that may be listening, and the younger so. Jerry and I were talking about our 25th anniversaries coming up. And I was saying some things that I'd like to do, and way more than I want to put in anything, honestly. But we had met some friends on Monday night, and one of their statements was, and they're the age we are, you know, we travel a lot now because we don't know how long it'll be before we can't do it anymore.
mm-hmm.
And so Jerry was asking me again about what it was I want to do a river cruise. And he was asking me, had I looked at it, got it, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, I just really don't want to put that much into it. And he reminded me of what Bill and Deb said. And so I'm glad I did and glad I don't say I wish I had. That's my point of view in my speaking part of my world. And that's what I've always basically based my life on. And my little business book that I just held up was about a time in my dad's life before he passed, after he had his aneurysm surgery. We were in the hospital like 21 weeks.
Wow.
And people couldn't imagine going through that. He was in ICU 15 of the 21. And you just did anything to make him happy. He didn't know me from anybody else there. I was just the girl that was there helping him. But was it hard going through? Yes, it was. But when I look back on those 21 weeks, I got to know a man that I hadn't known while I was growing up because he worked all the time. And so now I can honestly put that point of view into that. I'm glad I did. I'm glad I made fake cigarettes out of straws,
Straws, yeah.
and because he wanted to smoke. I
Yeah.
mean, I went to the trouble of buying real cigarettes, taking the carton, opening the pack, stuffing
You
them with.
know, I did that on my mom's deathbed. I said, "Mom, I know you want a cigarette." And my boyfriend at the time goes, "What are you doing? Just hush." He's like, "Let's get you a cigarette." And I put it in her mouth, and she enjoyed having it in her mouth.
Well, I took it a little farther. I took a bit. You know how many times you can flick a big lighter before it burns out?
I don't know.
Long enough to give you a blister on your finger, but he had nothing to light them with. Now this man's on oxygen. Okay, figure that. I flick a big lighter to the point that there's nothing in it, but he had a red big lighter that was his favorite. And I took that lighter and I flicked it totally empty and gave him the lighter to light his cigarette with.
Girl, that could have been Russian roulette. It could have been one little flicker left in there.
No. I flickered for hours after I got it done. I shook it. I did everything you
And
could
I
do.
guess you were confident enough to stand around and watch him do it, right?
He couldn't do it, so I was. He couldn't flick it that good.
Man,
But
I
yeah,
can just see that.
you do what you got to do. You know, the man was close to his deathbed. The worst thing that could have happened, we could have both blew up. But
Hi, Dennis. Yeah, you would have known nothing if that happened.
there's no thought of it. I never had a second thought about handing it to him. And the good part was Dr. Brawley walked through the door at the exact second Dad had that lighter set up here. You want to see a physician go totally white?
He's like, shit, I'm going to die today.
Oh, but that was just one of the many things that I did. I mean, I stood on top of his bed and hung sheetrock on the ceiling. I did all kind of stuff. And the book, the little chapter kind of tells about that. But it was really, he did stuff that normal people don't do. But you did it because of him. And I look back on it now and I'm glad I did everything I did. I mean, I have no regrets. When Dad passed, we had, there's always one more thing you've got to say, but we had he got to know me the week he came home from the hospital. Mm-hmm. So we had the time in the hospital and we had the time after that. He took cancer after that and didn't last real long, but we had that time to get to know each other. And that's where I'm glad I did came in. So I use that for everything I speak can work around it one way or the other. And it just, if everybody would look at that and think about it, Lynn, there's so many things that we regret having done. Just always be glad that at least you did them. I mean, it's like people that, if I hear anybody that says they don't fail because they never tried.
Yeah.
And I tried a lot of things and screwed a lot of things up in my life. Okay.
I used to be that way. I was like, I'm not going to do this if I can't be good at it. I mean, I try, but I get frustrated because I wasn't very good at it, but you got to practice in order to be good at anything.
Well, my grandfather and my dad brought us up to believe, or at least me, they didn't push it on many of the other kids, but you can do anything you want to do. You may not be as good as someone else, but if you have the tools and you have the time, you can do it. And so, actually, I was never allowed to say I can't. If I said I can't, those two men proved to me I could. So that's what I kind of lived by. So when I was doing my speaking training and they told us we had to pull up a point of view, there was no question. That was it. That was my very first thing I sent in, and it came back clear. But I just try to, I want to put, what I want to say, this is not come out right. I want to just let everybody know, be able to say you're glad you did, be glad you tried, be glad you accomplished, even be glad you failed. Because if you failed, you can try it again, or either that's the one thing you're not as good at as somebody else was, and you can go to that person to do. So it's just, I always wanted to be an astronaut when I was a kid. And I guess it's a really good thing that it happened back when women couldn't do it, or I'd been hell bent and determined to have been on one of those spaceships. But I've been lucky in my life, and I've been lucky enough to say I'm glad I did about a lot of things. And I know you have too.
Yeah, and the thing is that let's just say that you do have regrets that you haven't done things in the past. You've got to let those things go, and you've got to go ahead and say, okay, this day forward, I'm going to be glad I did. I'm going to be glad I said yes instead of no. I'm going to be glad that I'm trying to do something out of my comfort zone, because you don't grow unless you're out of your comfort zone. There's no doubt about that.
Kind of
And
like my bucket list was to jump the air dive or parachute, whatever you want to call it. I am glad I didn't.
well, you see, I mean, but it cracks me up because I've got herniated discs and all this other stuff, and they say I should do that because of all the whatever. But come on, they got 90-year-olds that are doing it. So why can't I?
You still can, and I still could too. But it's one of those things that I don't have to do anymore. I thought I had to do it years ago. In fact, I was set up to dive with my, buddy dive with my uncle, and it was at a little local airport here. So we'd go there every Sunday, and everybody that wanted to dive, blah blah blah. And so we were going to buddy dive. Well, he made a trip up before the time I was to go with him, and his chute didn't open.
So what happened? He didn't make it?
He made it. He fell into trees. His
Oh,
secondary opened right at the very end, and he fell into a bunch of trees, and he broke, I don't know how many bones. I mean, he was in cast for a long, long time.
Well, I think the only way I'm going to do is if they get a big, those air kids balloon thing that the air thing that you jump in. I need a big ass mattress like that so I have a soft landing. I may have a lot of booty, but it won't cushion that impact.
Well, I had a couple chances after that, but it was kind of like, you go back to the thought of your uncle laying there in a cast. And so I niched that one.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm glad that I did not do it.
Well, like they say, I think it's one of those things that be glad you did, as opposed to like they say, never say never, and don't have those regrets. And so, don't have the regret of not doing the things you want to do. And it's funny because we do get the impulse that we want to do something, and then we wait that 5 seconds and we're too late, because then we're like talking ourselves out, and that's not a good thing to do either. If it was in your heart and your soul to do it, just do it. Like, just, what's the worst thing you can do?
As long as it hurts no other being.
Right.
And it's something you want to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to have rules. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well,
but everybody needs to take control of what they feel, what they want, and what they need to do. And a lot of people just don't do that. They fly by. I fly by with the seat in my pants a lot, but there is some forethought into doing something really stupid. I've done a lot of stupid stuff, really stupid. I haven't done a lot of.
Well,
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, we definitely need to realize that when we are in the middle of thinking whether we should or shouldn't, sometimes it's already too late if you take too long to think about it, because then the moment's gone and you can't replay that. But if you just realize that, what the consequences, but don't overthink things either. Overthinking really kills a lot of dreams and hopes and desires and all those things.
I know a lady on this show that talks herself out of a lot of stuff. And I won't give you her name, but her initials are Lynn.
Well.
Shake your head this way.
No. Hey, I
Not as much
used
as
to.
we used to.
Yep, I used to, but no, now I'm just trying to be as transparent as I can be and moving forward. So, yeah, I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff coming up here soon, getting the TV network, Lynn Serrano TV, all set up here in the next. I'm going to give myself a month, but it'll be less than that. And we'll be directing everybody over that way instead of the YouTube. So, things are happening. Things are happening. So, live your life to the fullest. Robert Ward says, "Thank you, Robert Ward, for those nice sentiments here."
Robert,
Um,
that's so true because you
mhm.
only get to do it one time,
Yep.
just
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. And there's a lot of things that we regret that we didn't do or that didn't happen. But you know what? I feel like everything has its time, and it's just a matter of time. And I think in the meantime, you just do the best you can and just enjoy yourself. And I think if your heart desires something, it'll eventually come true.
Well, like I told you, on my tombstone will be, it was a hell of a ride. So I'm going down fighting. So
I'm gonna remember you said that. I'm gonna play that back. This is July 13th of 22. I'm gonna remember that. You're gonna go out fighting.
you
We
know,
got too much.
I figure I got another 30 years maybe.
Oh yeah, yeah.
No,
We're
it's just that everybody, I would love to just reach out there and grab everybody and just say, do what you can do today because tomorrow may
yeah.
not be here. And they always say keep a vacation planned ahead. And the reason being it gives you something to look forward to.
Yeah. Matter of fact, you and I were talking about that. Like I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, I'm antsy to go back see my dad. I'm antsy to go spend time with you in the pool. I'm antsy to go to New York. I'm antsy for all those things. And yesterday I said, "Well, Lynn, just start packing. Start getting ready for it so that I'm not, oh my gosh, I'm leaving in the day, Sheryl, and I did not all packed up." So I think that that's I'm going to be proactive there and be more like, okay, I'm going to get excited about my trip and what I'm going to take, and I think that that'll allow me to prepare for to be prepared, and that's the way I can handle the fact that I'm really antsy about wanting to get in the car and go. So
It's a lot of fun.
yeah, and
Do you
I
think
think
so?
purple is Lynn's favorite color. Yeah, yeah. I never used to have a purple or purple. Never had a favorite color. I've always liked pink and blue and purple. It only came in like after I turned 50, and I was like, "Why are people so into purple?" And then it just hit me. Purple Monster hit me.
It's
So
called royal. I mean,
I think that's why I love it because it's royal.
it's
So
just it's not a real color. It's
yeah,
red and blue. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's not one of the primary colors. So
Yeah, I think that's probably it. Well, I think we have talked this the best we could. And what's this? This is Mother Teresa, and I approve the show. This got to
I'm a
be Joe
student. This
Ingram.
is Jerry.
Or you know what? Oh, hey, speaking of, did you look at the comments last week on our show? Did you actually see what happened last week? We're talking and we're thinking and we're giving accolades to her husband Jerry, but it wasn't Jerry. It was actually Victoria that was on the show saying all this stuff on behalf of be, on behalf of Jerry. And so it was really cute. She was really slick. And it was funny because it was not who we thought it was. And so again, I'm gonna have to start looking at this feed and see who's the ones doing this stuff because Face or StreamYard doesn't allow us to know offhand who is doing that. So let's see. It's Joe Ingram this time, not Teresa. Joe Ingram, I love you very much. You guys have a great day. And remember, be glad that you did. Be glad that you have another day to do things. Oh wait, maybe I'm Victoria. Maybe I'm not. Be glad you did. Live with less regrets. You still have time to be glad you did. Make the wrongs right. You don't always have to be right to make things wrong. So just know that we've got a chance every day we're here to do what we want to do. so that we can check that off our list. So no time like the present. So thank you for being here. I love you, Sheryl.
Love you too, sweetie.
And hopefully God gives us another week here. So until then, you guys have a good one. Thank you.
You're like a circle that floats around.